Fortnite is arguably the biggest game in the world right now, with its popularity sending tendrils through to footballer celebrations, hip-hop stars teaming up with Twitch streamers to set new records online, and then also appearing as the new evil for UK mums trying to keep their stroppy teenage nightmares happy. For the last 6 months, that time has been restricted to when people could sit down in front of a computer or a TV to get their gaming fix, but Epic's plans have changed from saving the world to taking it over, with the game now coming to iOS and eventually Android. So, how does this big open world shooter handle being shrunk down for mobile? Well, I've got good and bad news for you. As a game, Fortnite holds up pretty well on mobile, with touch controls that do a pretty decent job of letting you take on the game's mixture of endless running, scavenging, combat, and building. But it also comes with pretty steep hardware demands for a good experience. It's been pretty unstable over its first weekend, and it naturally pales in comparison to the game on console or PC. Taking a game that has been built for PC, mouse and keyboard, or gamepad with its many buttons, analog sticks, and up to 6 usable fingers and thumbs for inputs, yes, I play with a claw grip, and then reducing all of that down to having just 2 thumbs able to stab, prod, and swipe on a potentially very diminutive touchscreen is quite a task. Fortnite leans on the work that has been done with other mobile shooters. So you have analog movement and strafing on the left-hand side of the screen, which has actually got a digital analog stick showing on there for you, while turning and looking is handled with swipes and holds on the right-hand side. But then there's a slightly baffling array of touch buttons to consider as well. Shoot is on the left as a digital button, but really you can tap anywhere that you want that isn't a button and you will still shoot. While on the right hand side of the screen are buttons for jumping, crouching and aiming down sights. Now, unlike on PC and console, you can't move, look and shoot all at the same time, unless, of course, you're a mutant with 3 thumbs. And so the game adds a stickiness to your aim. If you aim at an enemy, moving with your left thumb will now turn to circle strafing, as your reticule sticks to where you placed it on the enemy. The way that this is kept balanced, though, is that the reticule will stick in relation to where you left it. It doesn't snap to the target, and so you still need to adjust your aim correctly. Surprisingly, this actually works fairly well for combat. I was able to take long-range pot shots with an assault rifle, holding my phone about an inch away from my nose to do so, and land enough shots consistently to take them out. Sniping while scoped was also fairly manageable, and okay, I wasn't getting headshots, but I was doing enough to get a few kills. I would say that the pace of combat is a little bit lower compared to console, where shotguns reign supreme and you're basically dead within a few seconds if you don't manage to dodge that first shot. I even managed to win a round, my first in Fortnite, with a few tense firefights to clutch it at the end. One of the things that really helps here is the audio direction indicator. Footsteps of enemies, gunfire and chests are all shown on the screen in a sort of radial display, giving you the same kind of heads up that you would get if you were playing with a good headset on. It's really in the moment-to-moment of getting around and looting that the game starts to feel quite clunky on mobile, I feel, and it's not exactly intuitive on console to start with. Running is made easier thanks to being able to double tap and auto sprint. Doors do open automatically here, and inventory management is maybe slightly improved by having auto pickup and then being able to tap on items in the world to swap them for what you have equipped. Switching to build mode is a key part of Fortnite and it works just the same here, but aiming where you want to construct your ramp or wall is made much more fiddly, I find, without having real sticks to manipulate. Another issue is the ease with which you can accidentally shoot when you just want to tweak your view of the world, often spoiling your attempt at being a sneaky so-and-so. While the game initially only has touchscreen support, there's no reason why Epic can't update the game to bring support for M-Fire controllers. The one question mark here is if they'll actually want to. The game does support cross-network play if you're using the built-in friends list to join people on other platforms before you start matchmaking, and that adds a tacit agreement that you're going to be going up against people that might be on PC or console, putting phone players at a significant disadvantage in terms of the dexterity the controls add. With controller support, this might help in the cross-network setting, but when playing solo and just against other mobile players, it could add a significant advantage against those not expecting a disparity. Turning to the hardware demands, and you're going to need something quite up to date in order to get a good experience. The game supports from the iPhone 6S and upwards, and playing the game on iPhone 8 actually works pretty nicely. With a 4.7-inch screen, this is nowhere near the biggest phone you can have in hand, but it's also not the smallest iPhone that's supported. And everything on the screen is pretty tiny, but your focus is always right in the middle of what you're looking at, and your thumbs will tend to stay around the outside. A bigger issue is accidentally tapping the jump button when you want to shoot or turn the camera, just because your thumb has gravitated towards it. The newest A11 chip in the iPhone 8 is pretty damn powerful and is capable of some really impressive looking graphics, but the scope and scale of Fortnite means that detail has dropped a huge amount compared to consoles. Where there's grass on console covering practically every green surface, there is none on mobile, and draw-in distance for shadows is very noticeable in the near distance. A lot of objects in the game have also had dramatically reduced mesh and texture detail, and while the cartoony art style does help with this, and your character model and core lighting engine seem to be pretty close, it just means that it feels a bit like a knockoff version of Fortnite. The game doesn't reach for the console's silky smooth 60 FPS, but for 30 FPS instead, and there are noticeable stutters in frame rate at certain points. These could be down to lag spikes from playing online, the game having to stream in new parts of the world, or those moments of action when in combat. There's also a symptom of the Unreal Engine that I thought had been long banished with Unreal Engine 4, where objects off-screen can pop into existence a fraction of a second too late as the camera pans across them. If the iPhone 8 has got close to the very best possible chipset, then the iPad Air 2 is very close to being the absolute lowest with its Apple A8X. Only the iPad Mini 4 and its standard A8 is lower spec and still able to play. While the game still plays fine, and having a screen that is many times larger than an iPhone helps with being able to play and control a game, the resolution that it runs at on iPad Air 2 is just so terribly low, and detail has been dropped even further, such as a complete lack of shadows, not even just noticeably popping in, they're just not there. Having this blown up to a 10-inch screen, it's almost like playing a PS3 game at 720p while sat a few feet away from a 55-inch 4K TV. It looks bad, and I'd much rather pick up my iPhone 8 and sacrifice the screen size. Better yet, I'd just pick up a gamepad and play on console or PC, but I think that's a given where it's possible. More frustrating are what we hope are just a few teething issues of inviting a whole new platform to play a ludicrously popular game. We don't know the rate at which Epic have been inviting those that have signed up for the mobile invite event, but it's almost certainly been a factor in the matchmaking and login servers stumbling over the last few days. We also had matches plagued by lag, and more than a few times that the app simply crashed and booted us out to the home menu in iOS, which was more than a bit annoying when having managed to get into the top 6. However, into Sunday and Monday, and the game does seem to be much more stable, so hopefully these issues are somewhere behind us. While Fortnite on smartphone and tablet is a pretty decent start, it is hampered by the level of hardware needed to play at high quality. Then you've got the teething issues of dropping a whole new audience onto Epic's game servers, and the controls feel like a compromise that will struggle when dropped into cross-platform play. None of that really matters though. It's going to be ludicrously popular anyway, and for fans of the game, it'll be better to play Fortnite and get some progress on your account than the other Battle Royale games that have been quickly churned out for mobile, right? Even with this unexciting start, the game's future looks pretty good when considering the staggering rate at which Epic have continued to patch, tweak and improve the game on other platforms. We wouldn't be surprised to see Fortnite on iOS so vastly more polished and optimised in even just a month's time from now. Thanks for joining us for this look at Fortnite on iOS. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do like, subscribe and share if you have done so. You can also come visit us over on thesixthaxis.com for plenty more about Fortnite and tons of other games. Hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!